Today I'm analyzing Out of the Frying Pan and Craving the Other, two articles that study the trends of America's food appropriation. In both articles, I found the authors are targeting the members of middle class white American families who handle the cooking in the household. Specifically, Craving the Other focused on the white Americans who yearn for social status and try to attain it by flaunting their adventurous eating habits. Ho singled out the mainstream social media influenced young to middle-aged adults by discussing the common Instagram trends of people showcasing the new hole-in-the-wall ethnic eatery and touching on the home cooking methods of using foreign cultures' spice as means of enhancing the American meal. The author is attempting to single out the white Americans who lack interest in foreign cultures besides their food. Similarly, in Out of the Frying Pan, Sarah Jane Stratford is trying to reach grocery shopper / cooks in the household, most likely women, in the typical middle-class American house. You can see this through the article's mention of Mad Men, a very popular show with middle-aged women, and the central focus on grocery store advertisement and household duties. She talks a lot about how the housewives in the 60s adopted all different types of techniques to create a more convenient, clean household. So these pertain a lot to the average American woman. I think in both articles there's a central claim that current American food standards and practices are heavily influenced by outside sources and not personal preference. It seems that the American way in the eyes of these authors is to fit in with the rest of society, and they do this by adopting convenient, uncreative methods of preparing and purchasing food, and then proceeding to call it their own. Ho emphasizes the racist American takeover of ethnic cuisines by analyzing American-created Asian restaurants and their white-dominated kitchens. In this section of the article, Ho mentions the attempts of these restaurants to give credibility to their cooks by showcasing the backpack trips across Europe or Asia. This addition to the menu is supposed to show the cook's influence, but really, dishes made are the ones that can be concocted with or without an out-of-country trip. However, it is still enough for the average white American to feel culturally aware when visiting these restaurants. And out of the frying pan, the author is claiming middle-class American families are and have long been influenced by blatant advertising techniques to find the convenient, healthiest alternative to home cooking. The author is claiming the American families have been herded by advertisements to find the easiest methods of feeding the family. This following of commercials has caused less emphasis on home-cooked meals. This lack of focus on what we are really consuming is putting us in the position of consuming the most chemicals we have ever consumed. The author is claiming we must change our ways from this brainwashed, no-effort method of consuming so the future is not doomed to unhealthy, poorly regulated foods. She focuses a lot on trends that have gone throughout time since the 60s and how we have adopted and expanded on the advertisements and the picture-perfect kind of household. I believe the purpose of both of these articles is to bring to light the unhealthy, inappropriate consumption by Americans. In both articles, the authors are trying to show their readers that our current methods of finding and eating food is influenced by media. They want us to stray from our usual habits and adopt changes to our view of our food culture and the culture of others. In Craving the Other, Ho wants people to see the point of view of American immigrants when it comes to white Americans' racist claiming of other cultures' foods. I think she hopes her readers will reevaluate the way they approach other cultures and their practices. She wants people to realize that eating American renditions of ethnic foods does not make you educated in that culture's way of life, so we should not continue to act like we have all the answers, just because we tried a dish from a Chinese restaurant. We should be more sensitive when interacting with immigrants and understand that their way of life is just not the same as ours. And Out of the Frying Pan, I believe the author's purpose is to change the ways Americans choose what foods to buy and how we prepare them. She touches on the agricultural business and their advertising techniques that promote healthy foods but are really selling chemically engineered products. If we continue on this route, our future will be ridden with lazy American families consuming fake foods heated up in a microwave. Both articles are in magazine article format. I think that this works well for the piece because it better reaches the audience that they're trying to connect with. These articles seem to belong in a common household magazine that middle-aged American moms would purchase. And they are both very, very lightly colored, softly illustrated articles. And I think this appeals well to this demographic. In both articles is evident the authors are trying to address American culture and the problems that pertain to the food industry. Both authors are trying to bring to light how us Americans are brainwashed by social media and advertisements, and we make food-based decisions solely based off the norm. We look to what others are doing and what others like in order to fit in with the typical American home. It is trendy to eat other cultures' food, and it is easiest to buy the convenient no GMO product on the shelf because that's the healthy thing to do. In Craving the Other, the author is using personal experience to gather credibility and to clearly show how Americans are trying to oppress each other with their adventurous taste buds. And out of the frying pan, the author is using the trends from the 60s and on to show how Americans continue to stray away from traditional American cooking and feed into common advertising techniques that blind us from the issues behind food production, both of which are trying to change how and why Americans eat. Instead of consuming something because others do so, we should eat foods that we truly want to put in our body and know are good for it. In our course, we talk a lot about culture and how it is evident within our homes and communities. Both articles bring to light flaws within American culture inside the household and community. Craving the Other highlights aspects of multiple cultures and how they intertwine in America to make a racist mess. In our course, a huge theme is that we all come from different backgrounds, and it is important to feed off of that as a way of improving ourselves. However, in this article, it's showing how us Americans are doing a poor job of intertwining cultures. Instead, we are just stealing others and calling it our own. This does not make us better, but only shows the poorest aspects of our way of life. And out of the frying pan, the author shows how time has such a strong influence on culture. This is similar to discussions we've had in class about how we were raised and how over this time we've changed based on our parents, friends, and community, and the spirit experiences we've had within them. I like the format. That stood out most to me. Each of the articles I think were both perfect for the audience they were trying to reach. After our work with magazines in class, finding the audience for those magazines, I noticed more techniques that will help with reaching a certain group of readers. I think the colors and illustrations used in this piece were fitting for a white middle-class American family. The light tunes and cartoonish animations were very friendly and comforting, even though the articles addressed rather touchy subjects. And I think this is a perfect way to get these touchy subjects into a household, because these American moms would pick up this magazine any type of day, but this subject doesn't really belong that much in a household magazine, so this is a good way to spread awareness for the problems they're trying to address. I agree with both articles in the fact that American culture has room for many changes. I'm guilty of flaunting my experiences with foreign foods, and it has made me reevaluate my decisions. I still really love foreign food, but I want to change how I show this appreciation for it. After reading Ho's viewpoint on American culture and adopting other cultures. I also agree with the fact that advertisement of food has such a strong influence on American families and causes a very mainstream food culture that lacks any creative, experimental qualities. I think Americans always feed off of other cultures as a way to improve our own, so really the best part of our culture stems from things we stole. And that'll be it. Thank you.